Section 9 of Clotel. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Clotel by William Wells Brown. Chapter 9. The Man of Honor. My tongue could never learn sweet soothing words, but now thy beauty is proposed my fee, my proud heart sues and prompts my tongue to speak. Shakespeare. James Crawford, the purchaser of Althesa, was from the Green Mountains of Vermont, and his feelings were opposed to the holding of slaves. But his young wife persuaded him into the idea that it was no worse to own a slave than to hire one and pay the money to another. Hence it was that he had been induced to purchase Althesa. Henry Morton, a young physician from the same state, and who had just commenced the practice of his profession in New Orleans, was boarding with Crawford when Althesa was brought home. The young physician had been in New Orleans but a few weeks, and had seen very little of slavery. In his own mountain home he had been taught that the slaves of the Southern States were Negroes, if not from the coast of Africa, the descendants of those who had been imported. He was unprepared to behold with composure a beautiful young white girl of 15 in the degraded position of a chattel slave. The blood chilled in his heart as he heard Crawford tell how, by bartering with the trader, he had bought her for $200, less than he first asked. His very looks showed that the slave girl had the deepest sympathy of his heart. Althesa had been brought up by her mother to look after the domestic concerns of her cottage in Virginia, and knew well the duties imposed upon her. Mrs. Crawford was much pleased with her new servant, and often made mention of her in the presence of Morton. The young man's sympathy ripened into love, which was reciprocated by the friendless and injured child of sorrow. There was but one course left. That was to purchase the young girl and make her his wife, which he did 6 months after her arrival in Crawford's family. The young physician and his wife immediately took lodgings in another part of the city. A private teacher was called in, and the young wife taught some of those accomplishments which are necessary for one's taking a position in society. Dr. Morton soon obtained a large practice in his profession, and with it increased in wealth, but with all his wealth he never would own a slave. Mrs. Morton was now in a position to seek out and redeem her mother, whom she had not heard of since they parted at Natchez. An agent was immediately dispatched to hunt out the mother and to see if she could be purchased. The agent had no trouble in finding out Mr. Peck, but all overtures were unavailable. He would not sell Currer. His excuse was that she was such a good housekeeper that he could not spare her. Poor Althesa felt sad when she found out that her mother could not be bought. However, she felt a consciousness of having done her duty in the matter, yet waited with the hope that the day might come when she should have her mother by her side. End of chapter 9.